Welcome, everybody, to Multi-League Racing Network. We're about to get on with Phoenix International Raceway tonight. This 1 mile tri-oval has been reconfigured over the past couple of years, where now the front stretch is coming off the old turn 2. And so looking forward to the Phoenix tonight. And we also don't have the dog leg, we do have the dog leg. So these guys will be running through the dog leg with some exciting action tonight. And here it's pretty hot right now. Well, it's 73-degree ambient temperature, but about 113-degree track temperature. So it's a little hot out there. And joining me in the booth tonight is your producer and league racer extraordinaire, and that's Scott Patton. Hey, welcome back there, Scott.
Hey, what's going on, Ken? Welcome, everybody. Appreciate the intro there. Looking forward to a fun race, flat tracking in the desert to wrap up the West Coast Tour. You believe we're already on race number 4 of the season, Ken?
No, I can't. And I was actually looking at the standings today, and we have a couple of different winners so far. We got Andrew Schulte has won the first 2 races, but third race last week we had Michael Melfelt Jr. That was back at where was that? We were at Las Vegas last week.
Yes.
And so we're back in the desert tonight, still continuing our West Coast tour. And can Michael Melfelt Jr. pull off maybe another win tonight? Maybe another repeat customer.
Yeah, Michael Melfelt with 1 of the wins on the season. We can't forget to talk about Andrew Schulte with 2 wins, the first 2 of the season from Daytona and California, 2 in a row there. We'll see if we get a third winner on the season, but so far 2 for Schulte, 1 for Michael Melfelt. Right now we're watching Brad Ream here in the 61 Chevy Camaro come down for qualifying. Looks like he's running about 16th, if I got that right.
Yeah, and, we talked about Greg Mall currently holding the pole right now with a 27.3, 77 out there on the pole currently. And his teammate there, Jeffrey Merck, both from Bandit Motorsports, currently 1-2 right now. But Wesley Holland, Bad Apple Racing out there, splitting those Bandit boys up, and so far is qualified in 3rd.
There it is. Andrew Schulte 4th, Rob Haynes in 5th from Canada, and here comes Brad Ream for his 2nd lap. I don't believe it's going to be terribly too much better because he was so slow there coming off of turn number 4 here at Phoenix, which I got to be remiss, I don't know what the right word is, but I know it's been a couple years now as Brad Ream spins it to a stop there off of corner number 2. But they've reversed the configuration here at Phoenix. It's been about 2 years now, but it still catches me off guard. We got to talk about turn number 1 and 2. Used to be the old 3 and 4, and 3 and 4 is now the new 1 and 2. So I'm sure that's going to throw me off a couple times, but I'll get used to it here as we go to pre-race ceremonies. We'll get you the starting grid here coming shortly.
Yeah, and Scott, I had to race this place on Sunday, and I raced it once last year in these cars, and then I raced it again this Sunday, and I was still screwed up as ever. But I got to tell you some of the strategy that I expect tonight after running Sunday night race, and I think this always comes true for Phoenix, and that is track position. This is kind of a fun track to race, kind of a wide groove. It's not bad. The cars don't get too slick until you get them really low on field, and then they'll get loose. But it's not terribly bad here, and it offers a lot of great racing. However, depending on when those cautions come out, you could end up with very mixed tire strategies out there, with slower guys up front and the fast guys all in the back. And then, as you know, Scott, once that happens at a tight little track, this 1 mile, that can sometimes create some controversy.
Absolutely, Ken. Looking to see how the tires wear tonight, how the different lines come into play, and like I said, controversy in the different driving lines. Should be fun to watch for 110 laps. We're going to do things a little bit different here, Ken. I apologize to the viewers here, but our starting grid is not working. So maybe do you have the top 10, Ken? Maybe we can go through the top 10 at least.
We can go through the top 10. So we got Greg Mall is going to start on the pole tonight, as I said earlier, with his teammate on the outside, Jeffrey Merck. Wesley Holland will start in 3rd. Andrew Schulte will start in that 4th position. Rob Haynes, the Canadian, will start in 5th. With last week's winner, Michael Melfelt Jr. will start in 6th. Wade Cheetah will start in 7th. Christopher Davis, another Canadian in the 38 car, will start in 8th. Heath Smith starts in 9th. And James Lehman will round out your top 10.
Appreciate that. As we're waiting for these cars to finish gridding up here, another minute or so here. We've got Here to the Throne in the chat. Number Wesley Holland, bring home the win. He's pulling for Wes. Where's Wes starting? Looks like 3rd or so?
3rd. Wes was struggling the last few weeks. I'm kind of surprised we haven't been talking more about Wes, as they're getting ready to roll off pit lane right now. But Wes Holland looks like he's in a fairly new paint scheme there. That red and black 41 machine out there, that Ford Mustang. I don't believe I've seen that before. Was he running that last week, Scott?
He was. We showcased that one, the red and black. Rubens,
that's right.
Rubens Racing News. We talked about that podcast, I think it is, or something.
Don't get old. So here's something that... Here's something. So as they come off, so here I'm going to get confused right here. I believe this is turn 4. As they come off, no, this is turn 2. Yeah,
yep.
See, you see it right on the wall. The pace car ducks in. However, it's still a long ways around. They have to go through 3 and 4 before they get the green flag, and that's where the Geico restart zone is. So this is where these guys get amped up because they're used to that pace car going in and getting ready to go, and then you have to hold it back. You have to hold back all those ponies before you can go live.
Here they go down into turn number 3 now, in 4. It's kind of a short corner here, but you can see the start-finish line up there. 110 laps at Phoenix. Let's go racing. Green flag out. Looks like Wes Holland taking them down to the green.
Yeah, I think we had a car maybe with an internet problem, and we lost a car out there on the starting grid. That allowed Wesley Holland back up front. And see back there, Rob Haynes in that 199 beer store car gets up to second, but he is going to get out snookered by Jeffrey Hurricane Merck on the inside as they go into turns 3 and 4. I hope I got that right, Scott.
Yep, that's right. Michael Milfeld down there battling with, who is that back there? Christopher Davis. Oh, looks down on the inside. Heath Smith looking to take the shortcut. That's the dog leg. We'll feature that here, but what'd you got, Ken?
Oh, we are under caution. Christopher Davis involved in a big incident. I just seen his car going around, but I don't know if he was the cause or not. But big trouble for a few guys out there. Looks like Michael Melfeld Jr. might have been involved. No, Michael Melfeld saved. I'm sure you're dragging.
Let's take a look here. I'm going to take a look and see if I get a highlight on Christopher Davis.
Yeah, it looks like Charles Widener and Christopher Davis there get together.
Here's that turn 3 and 4 coming to the checkered flag. This is a replay, I believe. Yeah, there it is right there. Oh, hard hit for Christopher Davis on the outside as it gets turned with Charles Widener there on the outside.
Yeah, tough break for those two guys early on. We're only a couple laps into this thing. Only 3 laps in. I see it looks like the 95 smoking in hard too, Scott.
Yeah, we're looking at that right front of Christopher Davis's car is not turning. So he's going to have a rough day. I think his night's going to be over this early.
And we got some people on the tail end of the lead lap. It looks like the 355 car headed to pit lane and taking a few. That's Donald Stewart. He must be new to multi-league. I don't believe we've mentioned him before, Scott. And then we got the 78 car of James Hearns on pit lane. The 12 of Trent Drum. And yeah, and there's one other car that I can't make out yet. But 4 guys on pit lane.
Welcome, Donald Stewart. That is a name that I do not recognize at all in the 355 Castrol GTX Ford Mustang, it looks like. Welcome, Donald.
And we got some more fans in the chat room there. Looks like they're rooting for their boy. I believe this might be a coworker, but it looks like they're rooting for their boy in the 03 car there, Scott.
Who's the 03? Noah Rainwater. We've got Rainwater for the win, says Jason Hearns. No. Not Hearns. Harris. There we go.
We're just all kinds of lost tonight. All right, so we're only 3 laps in. Obviously, no real takers up front for tires. This is one of those things, Scott. We're looking at about 45 to 50 laps a tank of fuel. They run 53% on fixed setup, so that gets them about 45 to 50 laps. And then, of course, if you get these cautions, then what you might find is you can stretch that out. And being that this is a 110 lap race, you know, do you play those odds and keep your track position and maybe do this in one stop if enough cautions come out? So right now we're going to do 5 laps under caution. That's going to bring them right up, almost up to the halfway point.
That's true. What did you say the fuel window was, Ken? 45 to 50 or so?
Yeah, 45 to 50.
All right.
But a couple cautions, you know, thrown in there, that's going to add that, you know, bring it up to 55 to 60, you know.
Let us know in the chat. If you're in the chat, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know how the volumes are and the video feed and all that. See if that's as good as you expect it to be from the Multi-League Racing Network here on YouTube. If you haven't hit subscribe, hit that subscribe button and the like. Helps us out, helps alert you when we are going live every Thursday night here for the Stone River Outfitter Cup Series.
Yeah, so we're waiting for the pace car lights to go out. Your top 5 still Wesley Holland out there in first on that inside. Probably be starting on the inside. Lights go out in the pace car. Yeah, so Wesley Holland's going to choose that inside lane. On the outside, you got Jeffrey Merck. On the inside, in that third place position, you got the 199 car of Rob Haynes. Wade Cheetah back there. He's up to 4th from 7th there, Scott. So he's going to be starting on the outside in 4th. And he came close to winning a race last night there in the Road Series. And then Michael Melfeld Jr., last week's winner, is sitting back there in 5th on the inside. And Heath Smith in that orange and black number 1 Ford Mustang is your top 6.
That's a sharp-looking car by Heath Smith there. I take a lot of pride in a lot of the cars that I make, but that one's towards the top of the list, certainly. It's a Ross Chastain themed car. Used to be Kubota sponsorship there, but he was an Oregon fan, so he put some Oregon, I think it's a college sport, I'm not sure which, but yeah, sharp-looking car by Heath Smith. As we come down to green, let's take him down here. It's Wes Holland on the loud pedal, lap number 7 going on the board here at Phoenix. Cut through the dog leg. There we go.
Yeah, I'm seeing who's going to try to make their way through. We had some early movers at the first start of the race here. See Rob Haynes working on the inside of Jeffrey Merck, or vice versa. Merck is working on the outside. There is kind of an outside groove here, especially when the tires are young. And I think Jeffrey Merck took advantage of that and moved himself up to 2nd place. And you know what? That's another driver we haven't talked too much about this season. That's Jeffrey Merck. Kind of had some struggles early on this year. Missed a couple races. Had the hurricane, of course. Oh, big wreck. Big wreck in the back. Oh, there's still crash.
Looks like that is Johnny Hamby, yeah. Against the wall there in the John Deere number 70 Camaro, all banged up there. Let's take a quick look back at what happened to Johnny Hamby. Looks like a lot of these accidents, Ken, from what I'm seeing, are happening from that dog leg and guys not expecting guys to... Oh, you know what? Back that up. That is Wade Cheetah. Just loses it on the dog leg all by himself down there. Whoa, overcorrects to the right. And hard hit there. Tough break for all those guys involved, but lost it all by himself on the apron there, Ken.
Yeah, and I'm just going surveying the damage right now. I seen James Lehman, just that car is tore up. The front wheel was off of it. His night might be done. I imagine that's quite extensive repairs. I don't know how many cars were actually involved in that, Scott, but it seemed like there was about 5 cars all wrapped up in that. And Michael Melfeld Jr., also last week's winner, that the right side of that, the right side of that car is all tore up. Christopher Davis still on pit lane trying to get those repairs done. He might be out for the night. That wheel is out, but that was from a previous accident just a couple of laps ago. So as we watch these guys that were involved in the incident head to pit lane, Wade Cheetah.
Heath Smith with damage, right front, not turning again, backs up into the pit stall. I think his night's going to be done as well. Johnny Hamby probably with a lot of damage.
Yeah, we're already culling the herd out here, is what we like to say here in Montana. So, yeah, it's a bummer for a lot of these guys. I know James Hearns is on pit road, but that might be just a strategy for him, just topping off with fuel. Because I don't see any damage on that 78 Texaco machine.
Tough start to this one at Phoenix. Not quite what we had in mind in terms of we've been going quite a few green laps here from what I remember here in the first 3 races, but this 4th one seemed to be collecting collecting the rent that's due on cautions.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and it's going to clean up. Maybe what we should do on the next green flag is maybe do a rev it up. Maybe it'll clean up the situation.
Let's try it. Can't hurt anyway. We've got Crank It Up, first one on the season, because I don't even know if we've done a single one yet. We get so distracted with the good racing, and so we'll do one here on this restart. Are we one to go right now?
Yeah, we are. No, we're in the dog leg, and we'll probably get the one time to go next time by.
User in your
as
channel
the pace car
from the server.
As the pace car rolls through 3 and 4, I imagine the lights will go out. Actually, that's 1 and 2, Scott. I'm still backwards. The pace car is in 2. Anyway, we'll do a recap of where everybody is positioned. Currently, we got Wes Holland out there in first place. Still, Wesley Holland's going to start on his outside in second. Rob Haynes in that 3rd position. Joe Marks, hey, we haven't talked about him tonight. Up there in that Marine Corps car. that bright red number 4. He's going to start in 4th, matches his car number. Jack Watts will start in 5th. And Bob Wells, hey, Bob Wells is another guy we don't get a chance to talk about too much, Scott. He is starting in that 6th position.
Look at Bob getting up there in the top 10 on Thunder Road Chevy Camaro. Good to see you, Bob. One of the locals up here in the Northeast from New Hampshire. Probably about 25 minutes from where I'm at.
Yep. Yeah, this is really going to shake things up. We still have 20 cars on the lead lap. Billy Bumgarner on that nice Bazooka. He's back there. Well, he's in 18th. I was going to say he was the last car on the lead lap, but it's actually Trent Drum as things cycle around. Trent Drum's on pit lane, probably topping off with fuel, but Billy Bumgarner in that Bazooka car that you did such a great paint job on. Still enjoy seeing that car out there.
Where's Billy running? Oh, back there.
He's running
18th, like you said. There it is. Red, white, and blue Bazooka holding up the rear of the field. Coming off corner number 2 right now, right behind Johnny Hamby, who ironically looks like he may have not gotten too much damage from that wreck. Looks like he's all bundled up. Probably 4 fresh Goodyears and ready to give it another shot here.
Well, the lights are out in the pace car. Not only are they out, the pace car is on pit lane. They said, he said, I'm out of here, guys. You guys go have fun. As they get towards the Geico restart zone, we're going to take the green flag.
There it is, corner number 4, lap 13, lucky 13 going on the board here. We're going to crank it up here. Enjoy it, folks. First crank it up of the season. Back live, lap 19 on the board. About a 6th of the way through this thing already. Looking at Charles Weiner back in 13th spot. Let's see where Charles started tonight. Started, well, currently running 13th. Has been lowest 22nd, as high as 8th. So kind of running up and down the board for Charles in that silver 95 Chevy Camaro there.
Yeah, and if you remember, Charles Weiner was involved in that instant with Christopher Davis, and kind of has been running his way back up through the field. Just got by Johnny Hamby. Johnny Hamby was involved in the last incident that I can't even remember who the heck brought it out though.
Wade and
Wade,
that big
Cheetah,
incident.
yeah, that's right. And so Johnny Hamby has quite a bit of damage on that car. Johnny Hamby doing really well in points though. He's normally known for road racing. I think he's 7th in points currently, so he's doing really good this season in the Cup Series. Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now, Scott. He's 7th in points. Looking back up front here, Wesley Holland is still in control of this race. He's got Jeffrey Merck back there in second, just staying in his tire tracks. Isn't making really any distance, making any ground on Wesley Holland. It looks like Wesley Holland is right now the man to beat. And just behind Jeffrey Merck, we got Rob Haynes in that 199 beer store car trying to run the both of them down. But so far, nobody making ground on anybody. And this might be, they've seen a couple accidents early in this race, Scott. It might be, Jeffrey Merck in the wall, I believe. Or I'm going to just double check. Yeah, Jeffrey Merck.
It's hard in the wall on the right front there.
Yep. And he's got that thing gathered back up. I'm not sure what happened there because he was on the straightaway, Scott.
Yeah, we're going to back that up for a quick replay. Let's go on Jeff's cockpit cam, I guess, and see real quick here. Loses it all by himself. Let's see, slow motion off turn number 4. Gets to the right there, gets loose, and yeah, just overcorrects a little bit, gets hard into the outside wall. Hurricane Merc in the 60 car. Trouble on the front straightaway, right front with trouble here. And is still kind of limping around slow on speed here.
Yeah, and this isn't really that much of an aero track, but however, he might be dealing with some suspension damage or something like that, Scott, with the new damage model that iRacing has. That you can, and it looks like he's staying down on the apron. I believe you're going to see Jeffrey Merck head to pit lane.
Yeah, I think maybe broke a tie rod or something, but his leg's going to be cut short as well. Let's go back and see what where the battles are on the track. We're with Charles Widener again. Noah Rainwater just behind him, trying to pick up that spot. But we just saw Charles Widener trying to put the heat on Bob Wells up here for P9.
Yeah, and hats off to Bob Wells, Brad Ream, all those guys running up here. Blake Cheetah, that's Wade's son back there running in that 113 car, currently in 7th place right now. So the Cheetahs, at least one of them is having a good night so far there, Scott.
Yeah, it's a good thing about running a team, and certainly a family team at that. You know, if one of them does not so well, Wade back in 21st spot, it's kind of got your son to pick up the slack there in a similar paint scheme as well. So maybe some people will even be confused and maybe think it's Wade still up there.
Well, Bob Wells is just behind them, side by side right now with the 61 car, Brad Ream. Those guys have been going side by side the last lap or two, and you can see that yellow-black car there of Bob Wells down on the inside, that 42, and trying to get by that 61, but there is still a little bit of bite up top there, but he couldn't quite hold it up there, and that 42 prevailed.
That they did. Looking back at Charles Widener. Let's go with, let's find Noah Rainwater here. Looks like he's got Charles Widener on his outside now. Battling for position. You see how much momentum that has on the outside there.
Wreck. Oh, just behind them, there's another wreck. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a caution. Trying to figure out who that was, but looks like the 49 car perhaps there, Scott. I'm going to go back and look.
20.
Christopher Boyles, yeah.
Let's see what happened with Christopher Boyles here off of corner number 4. Sandwiched between James Hearns and Johnny Hamby. And again, same thing we just saw with Jeff Merck. Gets a little bit loose off of corner number 4. Can't quite save it by himself. No help from James Hearns in the back. And looks like Chris Boyles got the for Bandit Motorsports. Just getting in trouble there. Slams the inside wall, comes back to the outside, and collects. Oh, Heath Smith again gets a piece, and Bill Paradise as well. Stuck in the back there. Rough night for these guys.
Well, it looks like pit lane is going to be busy. Wesley Holland's going to lead our leaders down pit lane as they come off turn 2 and onto pit lane. Now, Scott, this is an interesting pit lane because, say the top 15 cars in qualifying will get those first 15 spots, and that's right on the bend. And when you come around the bend and you're looking at the left-hand side of your car, you cannot see your flagman. It is very difficult, and the league requires you to stay on the outside all the way until you're about 5 out from your pit stall, 5 to 3. So these guys really have to struggle to find their pit lane.
Yeah, there's a shot now from Rob Haynes running in second spot, finding his pit stall. There it is, the 199. And Wes Holland pits 2 stops and 2 stalls in front of him there. We'll see how the race comes off the pit road. All the way to that white line you see in the foreground. We'll see right sides go up, left side's going up now on these guys. Jack Watts away, dropping the hammer. Wes Holland down and away. And Rob Haynes.
Oh, Rob Haynes.
Beats him out here. Awesome job. Got to take it all the way to Blue Kona pit road speed. There they can release the hammer and catch back up to the pace car. All these guys here with 4 tires. Looks like for everybody this time around.
It looks like Mr. Rob Haynes came out here to play tonight there, Scott. It's kind of neat seeing that beer store car up front, and is going to take him to the green flag. Yep, so looks like everybody headed to pit lane. Jeffrey Merck, of special note, he did get that car repaired, and he is back on the track last I looked, and I'm just going to see how far down he is. That might have saved him from going a lap down.
Who are we talking about, Ken?
We are talking about Jeffrey Merck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's back there in 14th right now. Oh, no, he's back on pit lane, so he's probably still getting damage repaired on that, but he is still on the lead lap. Amazing.
Nice work by Merck, not letting up here. P17 right now, still lead lap, like you said. We'll see if he comes down to pit road. And all these guys, look at that. Wade, Michael Milfelt, Christopher Davis, all still on pit road collecting the hammers and trying to get things fixed and bundled up here.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting a little bit cleaner race than this, Scott. We've had a really good season so far. We might have had 2 or maybe only 2 or 3 cautions since the beginning of the season. It's been a pretty clean season, but I guess we got out here in the heat of Phoenix, Arizona, and all bets are off. We're 31 laps into this, 3 cautions, so average caution, 10 laps of caution, but I think these guys are starting to figure out. I think what else might be hurting the issue is we're still running about 110 degree track temperature. It does make for a pretty slick car out there, and with that open dog leg, as you know, when you come off that banking and then get on that straight, it kind of gets a little wishy-washy, and you got to be prepared for it. And if you're not ready for it, sometimes the car gets away from you.
Talk about things unpredictable. Trent Drum gives up the 5th spot to come down pit road. We saw him there along with Billy Bumgarner. These guys just took a splash of gas and back on the racetrack. Maybe they know something that we don't, Ken.
Yeah, definitely know something we don't, because I can't even call why you would do that. Right. So unless there was a penalty or something like that, and we haven't heard anything from the officials, so yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we are lights are out in the pace car, and it's ducking onto pit lane at the moment. Rob Haynes is your leader. Wesley Holland on his outside. Jack Watts in 3rd. Matt Rattaloso will start in 4th. Joe Marks will start in that 5th position. And Brad Ream rounds out your top 6.
Coming down that long front straightaway. Well, actually, technically it's the back straightaway. There they are into corner number 3 and 4. Your race leader, Rob Haynes, in the orange 199 beer store Toyota Camry. Green flag out, lap number 33 going on the board, about 1/3 of the way through this thing. Cuts through the dog leg. Got to make sure you guys maintain control down there. We saw Wade have problems with that early in the race. 2nd spot, Wes Holland right on his bumper there.
Yeah, we're almost 3 wide just behind them. We got Joe Marks, Jack Watts, Matt Rattaloso almost went 3 wide. Looks like they're getting that battle somewhat sorted out. Still, we got just behind them, Joe Marks under pressure from the 61 car, Brad Ream, trying to take him on the outside. Couldn't get it done. How about that, Joe Marks in that Marine Corps number 4 car?
Yeah, let's give Joey some TV time in the Marine Corps car. Nice job to see you up there, Joey, in the flat track at Phoenix. I'll admit, I can recall a couple of races that I've had tight battles with Joe at Phoenix. I think he's got kind of a knack for this racetrack. I got to imagine that it's on one of his top 3 tracks on all of iRacing. Speaking of all of iRacing, I know you've seen this, Ken, but iRacing themselves, the company, put out a stat late last year of all of the racers on iRacing service. They put out the top 5 drivers of all time that have turned the most laps on the iRacing service. Guess who's at the top of that board?
I think I know what you're going to say, Scott. I think I remember seeing that list, but I'll let you try to surprise me.
That's Joey Marks, the one and only. Has run more laps than anybody else on the entire iRacing service.
That's incredible. That is actually truly incredible. And, well, he's showing that he's run those laps, because right now he's having a great night there running in 5th. And it's nice that we get to talk about Joe. So, yeah, it's just great seeing him up front like that. Another guy that we haven't talked about just behind him, Brad Ream. I know we've talked about him tonight a little bit, but hasn't been getting too much TV time lately, but he's in that patriotic red, white, blue, and black scheme car out there, We the People. And he is out there running in 6th, having a pretty solid night.
And he is. He's been as low as 22nd tonight, currently running in 6th, like you said, which is his high point of the day, trying to crack that top 5. But he's gonna have to get around the tough Joe Marks here to crack that top 5.
And speaking of climbers, we got a couple of climbers. That 13 car just ahead of him, that purple Monster Energy drink car, Chevy Camaro. That's Matt Rodoloso out there in that 4th position. He's all the way up from the 20th spot tonight. So he is climbing his way up to the top.
There he is. He's been as low as 20th, like we said, cracking the top 5 and 4th spot. Good to see Matt Rodoloso. I think he's new to the league this year, so good to see him competitive.
Well, we had a change of our leaderboard. 41 gets by the Canadian Rob Haynes in the 199 beer store. I like just saying the beer store car. Awesome name for a car. But Wesley Holland is now gotten back around that 199, and I don't know. Rob was pretty strong on the first stint of this thing. So while Wesley might have been able to get by him, I don't imagine he's going to check out just yet on that 199.
Yeah, last time around was probably with the pass, but lap times 27.8 for both of those guys. So I think they're highly competitive. And I think Rob Haynes, if I know Rob, maybe he'll sit behind here, save some tires for a little bit, and see what he can do with Wes on the long run. But I can also tell you from experience, I won the championship here in Multi-League 2 years ago now, and I wrestled neck and neck with Wes. Well, actually, I won't even say I wrestled with him because he had me smoked for the first 3/4 of the race. I was pretty well content on conceding the championship to him. And then a pit mistake towards the end of the race, if I remember right, kind of cost Wes the race and allowed me to propel to the win. But Wes is super fast on tracks like this.
Yeah, I think Wes is mostly strong everywhere, but you're right, Scott. Definitely on certain tracks, he does have an edge, it seems. And anybody that's going to chase him down, you know, when I said that you're climbing to the front, that's basically like climbing Mount Everest, is having Wesley Holland out front and trying to climb your way up. But somebody else is climbing their way up. That's Jack Watts in 3rd place currently in that 77 Budweiser car. That chrome-looking Bud 77 Chevy Camaro has been moved up all the way up from the 14th position. So up basically 10 spots on the night.
Good to see Jack up there. Some new names up here. Matt Rodoloso in 4th, Joe Marks running up top 5, Brad Ream, Johnny Hamby, Bob Wells, Blake we talked about in 9th, and Charles Widener running up the top 10 right now on your leaderboard.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Most of the battles have kind of cleaned up right now. We're kind of single file. Just checking on the field right now. I moved back to Bob Wells. He kind of was under pressure there from Blake Cheetah, but Blake Cheetah now is finding himself under pressure from the 95 car of Charles Widener, who was involved in that early on accident. And Charles Widener now, Eric Talent looking on the inside. Charles Widener couldn't quite make it happen there as they go through 1 and 2. And that's kind of a neat turn. You know what I consider this, Scott, is kind of like a mini Pocono. It's a 1 mile Pocono for me. And I don't know if these guys are doing it, but on my race on Sunday night, I was actually shifting. So I was downshifted in 1 and 2 and keeping it in 4th all the way through 3 and 4, and then back into 5th through the dog leg. So that's how I was driving it. I don't know how these guys are doing. Can we get a cockpit and maybe see what they're doing here?
Yeah, let's go cockpit with Charles Widener here. We'll see what he does in turn 1 and 2, chasing down Blake Cheetah in front of him in the CQC Power Sports Chevy. Oh, Charles chases up the track, gets all kinds of loose. Not sure he had an extra hand there to...
Oh, just behind him too. Eric Talent gets into the side of, I don't know who that was. I'm trying to look for it. I don't think that's going to bring out the caution because the guy went down onto the apron. I missed who that was.
Noah Rainwater looks like he's off pace. I think that was Noah Rainwater.
Tough break for Noah Rainwater. He just...
Let's go back here for a replay of corner number 4, it looks like. Oh, just goes 3 wide on the inside with Eric Talent and gets the raw end of that deal as Noah gets the inside wall. And it looks like that left front is not turning. That's not going to bode very well for Noah's chances as he was just about to crack the top 5. Tough break for him.
Yeah, definitely. Back up front, well, not really up front, but for that 4th position, we got Joe Marks challenging Matt Rodoloso now for that 4th spot. So Joe Marks definitely moving his way up, and it's kind of great to talk about. Was gaining some time there. It looks like he lost about a car length as soon as we went cameras on. But we got Yeah, somebody down sideways on the dog leg as I was talking about that. It's just like as soon as I start talking about something, Scott, somebody is doing
it's the broadcasting jinx coming into play again.
Somebody's testing their Ken Block maneuvers down there in the dog leg. Anyway, hey, can we do a cockpit of Wesley Hahn? I'm curious if he's shifting that car or not, Scott.
Yeah, here we are with on board with Wes coming into turn number 3. All the way down to speed, and I got nothing so far. I got to assume he's in gear number 5. No shifting through that corner.
Yeah. So maybe these guys aren't doing the shifting. Maybe I was doing the wrong thing. So I did get on the pole, though, Scott. I will say that. Ended up 5th overall, though. So I guess maybe I was doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, Wes is not shifting. What I've found too, maybe it's one of those things, Ken, where early on in an entire run you can kind of shift to get some fast laps down, especially get away from traffic. But I find myself sometimes on those racetracks, once you get out front and start cruising, sometimes staying in that high gear is more beneficial, saves the rear tires, and especially if you have clean air and no traffic to contend with, and can be the better result for the long term and the long run of the car, which it looks like we finally hit a long run here, going 20 laps since the last pit stop.
Yeah, and we got probably another 25 before we start seeing pit stops, which does make this now a one-stop race. Nobody was going to be able to make it with when everybody came in, but now we are down to a one-stop race. Although I think we still have a couple of sets of tires left, so I imagine if there's some late race cautions, you'll see guys gambling on tires. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. So I guess that would be about lap 75. We should see these guys head to pit lane as long as we stay green.
75 would be 25 laps from now. That would put him at about 47 laps on the fuel, which I think is right in that fuel window that you were talking about earlier, 45 to 50.
Yep. And it pretty much splits that fuel run too, I believe. So unless I'm probably doing some funky math too.
No, that is right. 75 leaves you with 40 would bring you to 115, so about 35 laps left on fuel for the second half.
Well, Wesley Hahn's still in firm control of this race. He has gapped that second place car, Rob Haynes, by about a second and a 7/10 as he's going by the lap car. I'm trying to see who that lap car was. That would be
that's a new member, Danny
Donald Stewart.
Yeah, going a lap down here in 18th.
But since we haven't talked too much about Donald Stewart just going a lap down, he must have pretty much kept himself out of trouble because we didn't talk about him during the cautions or anything, so that's always a good thing.
It's one way to do it. It's one way to get that 3-digit number changed to a 2-digit number. It's just to stay out of trouble. And Donald Stewart at 355, looking to put a couple of weeks of experience under his belt and stay out of trouble. Brad Ream, speaking of trying to stay out of trouble, Brad Ream slow off corner number 2 here. Let's see what kind of trouble Brad ran into off of, let's see, yeah. Let's see if we can get a quick replay of, this is Brad off corner number 2, and that's 61, loose all by himself again. Just hits, kind of straddles the apron there in the yellow line, gets loose, chases up the racetrack, no contact, does a great job of keeping it under control here.
Yeah, awesome job. Oh, and just as I was coming back, it looked like Johnny Hamby got sideways. He's going to give up a position now, and that looks like Bob Wells going to go by Johnny Hamby on the outside, and that's for that 7th position, or 6th position, actually. And Johnny Hamby starting to feel some struggles right now with a very loose John Deere Toyota Camry. That's what it looks like, at least. Maybe it's a Camaro. It's a Camaro with the funky, with funky painting around the headlights. It's making me think it's a Camry.
Back here, Charles Widener putting some pressure on along with Blake. Looking to pick up another spot here. Down the back stretch into corner number 3.
Yeah, and then Eric Talent down there on the outside there of Blake Cheetah.
Oh, Blake gets loose, almost takes out the pit cone. Almost does what his father did. Maybe they're taking driving lessons together, but Blake gathers it back up, doesn't overcorrect, and maintains on the track with minimal, if not no damage from that.
Like father, like son, as they like to say.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
God, I'm hearing tires sliding all over the place. These guys must be really fighting ill-handling cars. I was going to mention something earlier, Scott, about strategy, but it's completely blown my mind right now. So kind of left my chain of thought. Johnny Hamby's still struggling. Eric Talent's going by now on the inside, and that is for that 8th position. And give that to Eric Talent.
Man, what do you think? I know Johnny Hamby is one of the best, if not the best, on road courses, in my notebook anyway. A track like this, a flat track like Phoenix, kind of screams to me it's about as close as a lot of the tracks are on the NASCAR circuit to road racing. Why do you think Johnny might be struggling so much tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. Johnny does admit that he doesn't have that much experience on ovals, but I can tell you from my road racing experience, it doesn't really apply to Phoenix for whatever reason. Phoenix is a little bit different. I think you can add maybe a little bit from road racing, but it's definitely not like Indy and Pocono and Martinsville. That's where the road racers tend to shine, at least in my opinion. But Phoenix has always had just that little bit of different kind of field where it's kind of still mostly an oval, you know? And if you're one of those guys, oval racers, you really have to be good at the nuance of a track, right? And I think Phoenix is one of those tracks where it has a lot of nuance, and I think a really good oval racer will shine here.
I agree with you on that, and that makes perfect sense there. That I was just thinking more along the lines of Pocono, like you were saying, that it has kind of 2 ends of the racetrack, almost 4, independent corners. Not so much independent like in Indianapolis necessarily, but in the terms of the banking and the approach to the corners and the exits, I thought he might kind of excel at a place like that with unique corners. But I stand corrected as Billy Bumgarner puts the pressure on him off corner number 2 going down the backstretch here.
Just looking, Wesley Holland's opened a little bit of more of a gap. 3/10 now on Rob Haynes. Rob Haynes still running back there in that second spot, but they've gapped Jack Watts by almost 5 seconds now. Jack Watts trying to get by that, I want to say that's a 3:05. I'm not entirely sure. That's David Donald Stewart. Even I'm messing up his name now, Scott. Thanks a lot. But Jack Watts now looks like he might be under pressure from Matt Rodoloso in that purple Monster Energy drink Camaro. See if, as we see that Camaro closing in on the back door of that Budweiser car as they go into 1 and 2. It's a long sweeper here, and you kind of got to hold off the throttle until the last minute and then ease into it. And here's an interesting corner here, Scott. Going into 3, you have to brake earlier than you think you would. You're looking out your windshield and looking at that corner. It looks like you can just get hard on the brakes and get in that corner, but every time, if you try to overdrive that corner, the car will just lock up on you and just go up the hill.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating. It's got to be a lot of discipline there to hold the car down and not overdrive it. Be kind of right on that edge to pick up lap time, but not put it in a compromising spot there as you try to overtake that Chevy Camaro of Jack Watts up there.
Hey, Lawn Chair Man is in the chat there, Scott. Lawn Chair Man is not in the race tonight, I just happened to notice. And he is second in points, so I wonder what's going on with him.
Yeah, Rod says, wish I was racing. I think I saw pictures of him on Facebook today on the beach with a beer. So he's probably drinking on the beach, which I can't blame him, I guess. Maybe he'll get a bye.
Yeah, we do have drop weeks in this series, so I think they can drop, what is it, Scott? Maybe 5 races if I remember right.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Maybe a few more, yep. So those are basically provisionals because we all have lives outside of sim racing, and even us here in the booth, we've been known to take a race off or 2.
13 to Matt Rodoloso gets around Joe Marks. Maybe both those cars. Jack Watts and, I think just Matt Rodoloso gets around Joe Marks there. Joe trying to find his spot, still comfortable in the top 5 here. 8.5 seconds off the lead of Wes Holland, who just put down the fastest lap in the entire field, 29.3 that time by.
And you can see that's 2 seconds off the fastest lap times at the beginning of the race on new tires. So that just shows you how much time you're giving up. So anybody goes into pit lane now is going to be a demon on fresh tires. So it's something you always have to watch when the green flag stops do start happening. You do have to pay attention to these guys on new tires coming up behind you really quick.
Speaking of demons, lap 66 going on the board. Wondering when pit stops are going to happen. Probably sometime in the next 5 to 10 laps, I would think.
I would think so too. Right now, on the outside, the 13 car, Matt Rodoloso going by the 77, the Budweiser car, and then splitting him is Joe Marks down on the inside. Joe Marks, give that position to Joe Marks. He's going to move up to that 5th position, I believe, or 4th position. Oh, and we're under caution. And it looks like the 78 car, James Hearn, something happened there.
Yeah, James Hearn's coming to pit road here. Looks like we have a highlight reel. We'll see what happened to James here last time by lap 66. That's James going into turn number all by himself. Maybe trying to come to pit road, I think. Loses it all in the apron. About 2 lanes lower than the apron there, and stops on the racetrack. Tries to get it woed up and pulled down to pit lane, but unfortunately brings out the caution in the meantime, but avoids any damage on that car. And maybe, hey, it looks like he's getting his tires changed. I wonder if he's going to go a lap down. Do you know where the leader is now? On pit road.
Yeah, leader just entered pit road, and that'd be Wesley Holland. I was going to say, Scott, you mentioned James Hearn's getting sideways on the apron and going to pit lane. That's exactly what was happening to me this weekend. My struggles with this new car. When you get off pit lane, if you get too far down on the apron and you jump off the racetrack too early, that's exactly what happens with these cars. And so what you got to do is late brake them into the pit entrance there and stay to the outside, because if there's like a little seam in there, and if you get over that seam, the car it'll just go sideways on you and you can't save it.
There it is. 4 tires going for Wes Holland and at least Rob Haynes. Down and away. Wes Holland gets the better part of Rob this time for this battle. Remember, Rob got him last time in that first caution around lap 30 or 31, I think it was. No, earlier than that, right? Lap 11 or 12?
Yeah, that was early on there. I don't remember exactly what lap. I'm actually just fascinated. I watched Joe Marks come off pit lane in 3rd. Matt Rodoloso just behind him will come out in 4th, and Jack Watts in 5th. So it changes up our top 5 a little bit. Not the top 2, but the 2nd through 5th has changed up a little bit.
Wes Holland going backwards here. Penalty maybe for Wes Holland. Too fast exiting pit road, I gotta imagine. Look at all the cars passing him. Ooh.
Yeah, tail of the end is. I should just give it up, Scott.
Tail end of the longest line. How about that?
I don't know why I couldn't say that. It literally would not. My brain would not. It was broken.
If Wes was speeding on the pit entry, I believe it would have held him in his pit stall for about 40 seconds. I think that is I know that's the penalty if you're under green. I'm not positive about the penalty under yellow, but I think that might have been an indication of him speeding on pit exit. Maybe he was anxious. Maybe that's why he got the better part of Rob Haynes, because he was speeding on the exit, I think.
Yeah, and that is a tough break for Wes Holland. There's still quite a few cars on the lead lap. We got 15 cars I'm showing right now on the lead lap. I don't believe there's any wave arounds at this point. This should be our last stop of the race with 41 to go currently. Everybody should make it, so unless they just want to come down and get fresh tires if there's a late race caution, this should be the last pit stop everyone will see. Rob Haynes out there currently leading with Wes Holland having to drop back. I'm going to believe Wes Holland's going to be in that 15th position when it's all said and done, and that field is still trying to get sorted out. Right now, we'll go through your top 6, and that's Rob Haynes, the Canadian, the beer store car, is going to lead him to the green. Joe Marks on the outside in the 2nd position in the number 4 car, the Marine Corps car. Matt Rodoloso down on the inside will start in 3rd. Jack Watts in the Budweiser 77 car will start on the outside in 4th. And Eric Talent out there in 5th. While Charles Widener will start that 95 Lowe's machine in 6th position.
Bob Wells in 8th, Blake Cheetah, and Mr. Paradise himself. Haven't talked much about Bill. He was involved in, I know, at least one incident early. He clipped somebody on the back straightaway here, but got that damage fixed. Cracking the top 10 is Bill Paradise.
Yeah, great run for Bill. We haven't mentioned him all night. I didn't even know he was in the race there, Scott. But that's Bill Paradise's style, right? Clean and quiet. And unfortunately, he's probably just victims of everybody else's problems. But anyway, they're in the Geico restart zone, and we're green flag.
Rob Haynes got a great jump there from Joe Marks on the outside. Matt Rodoloso all the way down to the apron, tries to cut off Joe. I think he's going to clear him here into turn number 1. Yeah, I still got to hesitate when I say that. Turn number 1 here at Phoenix.
Yeah, and Matt Rodoloso was strong. We've seen him moving his way up all night. So he might be silent but deadly. So Rob Haynes is going to have a mirrorful, I imagine, for at least a little while. And maybe Matt Rodoloso's got something for him on tire strategy, too. We'll have to wait and see.
Side by side was Jack Watts and Eric Talent there. You saw Eric get the better of that spot. We'll see if he can put the pressure on Joe Marks here to crack the top 3.
Yeah, tires are a big deal too here, Scott. You know, if they just go maybe 5 or 6 laps, 5 or 6 lap old tires are a big deal. So if you get a caution, some of these guys running towards the back of the lead lap, will probably just come in and get another set of tires because they'll probably be able to make up some ground, even on the faster guys. So something to watch out for late in this race.
See some wrestling back in the pack there. Let's go backwards a bit. See some smoke. I want to say that was Donald Stewart, I think that was smoking there off of corner number 4.
Well,
Still trying to get his sea legs under him, I guess they say.
Well, I've got some news for you there, Scott. The 41 car is on pit lane. I'm not sure. He must have got a black flag. So did he have to go to the tail end of the longest line and then serve a stop and go or a drive through? But currently his night has gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, we'll see what Wes does here. If it looks like just a drive through, no, I thought that was the end of pit road there. But here comes to his pit stall. We'll see if it is just a quick stop or if it's parked, backs it up into a stall. Yeah, he's sitting there for a while. But that is an interesting penalty for Wes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. He's definitely going to go a lap down, if not more. Back up front, Rob Haynes has opened a second lead over the 13 car of Matt Rodoloso. Matt Rodoloso feeling a little bit of pressure from the number 4 of Joe Marks. And just behind Joe Marks, Eric Talent now taking a peek on the inside as they go into 3 and 4. You see that green and black. Number 5 car kind of starting to stick all over the back of Joe Marks. Joe Marks taking the inside of the dog leg. Sometimes that's good when you're trying to gain a position, but if you're out there racing, sometimes you lose a lot of momentum when you do that.
Yeah, sometimes I was just going to point out that exact thought here. Let's go into turn number 3 and 4 with these two guys. If Eric does the same thing as he did last time, watch how much lower Eric gets in 3 and 4 here. Gains a little bit of traction on Joe, but then Eric's going to make a wide exit as Joe's car is already pointed towards the apron. He doesn't cut it quite as much that time, obviously, but interesting how different they were taking those two corners.
Yeah. And every time we bring them up to talk about that kind of stuff, Scott, you know this, I know this, they change their plans.
Right.
It's like, oh, he's running on the bottom, he's running on the top. You can see the two different lines. We go to them. Next thing you know, their roles are reversed.
Yeah.
So, but that's the story of our life here in the booth. If we can only control what the drivers are doing out there. So Joe Marks back down on the apron, still holding off Eric Talent there. Doing a great job, man. I can't say enough about Joe Marks. Matt Rodoloso out there in second, now almost a few seconds behind our leader. Basically, there's a battle for second as the 199 car of Rob Haynes seems to be checking out, at least momentarily. Most cars are single file in, from what I can see here, Scott. Looking back here at Johnny Hamby. Johnny Hamby is trying to work on the 61 car of Brad Ream or vice versa, but it looks like Johnny's got the power right now, putting some pressure on that 61 car. And just behind them, you got Jeffrey Merck, I believe is a couple laps down at this point, but is looking a little racy right at the moment.
Jeff Merck 4 laps down. Looks like here to the leader in the P number 18, just racing to get some TV time for the Stone River Outfitters title sponsor there, number 60 Toyota Camry. But letting those guys race on his outside there. Oh, almost made contact there. Brad Ream racing for a position. Joe Marks on the inside. Brad should have the momentum coming off of turn number 2 as Johnny Hamby tries to take advantage as well.
Yeah, sometimes that's a little frustrating. These guys are knowing that Jeffrey Merck's a lap down or a few laps down, and they're probably asking themselves, who are you racing, Jeff? I'm busy trying to hold off Hamby, and you're holding us up. And,
you can imagine, you know this as well as I do, Ken, how frustrated Jeff would be if that was a lap car race in the middle of his race.
Yeah, very true. But the other thing is we know how fast Merck is, right? So Merck is probably thinking, as soon as I get by these guys, I'm faster than they are, and then they can have their little race, right? So that's probably the way he's looking at it. It's like, just let me by, and you guys won't have to worry about me. You guys can have your race.
Speaking of guys racing laps down, here's Wes Hall in the 41, 2 laps down, lost 2 laps to that penalty. It's a long pit road, but he is on 17th right now, 2 laps off the pace, trying to get him back the hard way around the outside of Jack Watts.
So as soon as we took the camera off Hamby and Trent Drum, or Brad Ream, Hamby goes by Brad Ream, so that's just our luck. But Hamby up a spot now, and it looks like he's currently running in ninth. So Hamby starting to recover from those early race struggles.
We're getting down to it, down to almost the last 25, 26 laps here to go at Phoenix.
Oh, big traffic jam back there with Joe Marks, Matt Rodoloso. They're involved in all kinds of traffic. I want to say there's a lap car in there. Yeah, that might be Wes Holland up there. That's Wes Holland, who's a lap car, and got his penalty served. I'm just going to take a look here, Scott, see what that cost Wes Holland. See where he is on the leaderboard here. I'm looking. Oh, so he is 2 laps down. So he's fighting to get to 1 lap down.
I think if he gets to 1 lap down, he could have a shot at that lucky dog spot, right? That's probably what his goal is here with 20 or so, 25 laps left in this race. He's not done fighting yet. That's what I like about Wes. He's always keeping his eye on the end of the race here. Down and out with a unfortunate penalty. Probably started with speeding. I'm not sure what the second penalty was, but around the outside of Matt Rodoloso comes Wes Holland trying to fill in that gap to Rob Haynes up here leading the race 3 seconds up front.
Yeah, and he's going to have to run down that 3 seconds. And plus, he was unable to take tires under that stop, under that penalty stop. So he's still on the same tires that everybody else is on. So it isn't like he's got a tire advantage trying to race his way back up to the front. The other side of it is you still have 3 other cars. James Hearns, David Schreck, and Donald Stewart are 1 lap down. And so he'd have to get ahead of them to get that lucky dog as well. But this is a start, you know, Scott. You got to get it started, right? Never give up.
That's true. Speaking of never giving up, I like the fact that good old, let's see where he's on the leaderboard. Last spot, Christopher Davis, 68 laps down, out there with the new Wendy's number 38 Camaro. He's still out there trucking around.
Yeah, well, he's got that sponsor he's got to get out there and support with the, what do you call it, the Wendy's chili and the Wendy's Frosties.
Frosties, oh yeah.
I haven't had a square hamburger in a long time. You know, Scott, I was, my wife made dinner tonight. We had tacos, right? We didn't have like regular Spanish Mexican tacos. We had American tacos. And I grabbed the spatula to grab the meat and put it in my white tortilla. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? And I put the cheese on there, and then I put the lettuce, and I was putting the sauce on there. And I'm like, I'm making a freaking hamburger right now. This is nothing but a cheeseburger.
You know what they say? You know why the hamburgers are square at Wendy's, right?
No, what is it?
Because Wendy's doesn't cut corners.
Oh, yeah. I guess I did know that. I've always liked that car. It's kind of right up there with the Bazooka car that you painted. That Wendy's car has always been one of my favorites. I have like 3 or 4 favorites out there. Definitely always good seeing that out there. So
another one, let's show this one off. This is James Hearns, one of our admins. We painted him up 78 Haviland Ford Thunderbird. If you look on the front, it actually says Thunderbird on the very bottom of that car.
Oh, yeah.
Davey Allison themed car. Came out very super sharp there. Back up front, looking at the Rob Haynes, and there's the interval back to second spot, Matt Rodoloso. Wes Holland in the middle there trying to fill that gap, probably about 1.5 seconds or so off of the bumper of Rob Haynes being 2 laps down still.
Yeah, well, at least Wes can get one of those laps back. So I've moved back to the 6th position of Blake Cheetah. Blake Cheetah almost did what his father did about halfway through this race, got a little sideways down there in the dog leg, but that car is moving its way back up front. Started in 28th. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that he is our hard charger of the night. Up over 22 positions, or around 22 positions there, Scott. Up running in the 6th position. Maybe knocking on the back door of a top 5 at the moment.
There he is. Let's give him some TV time there in that CQC Power Sports. If you haven't done so already, check them out on Facebook, CQC Power Sports. You can search for them there. And that's a motorcycle team. They race out in Minnesota with, I know, Dad and Blake's brother, Austin. And sometimes he races with us. I don't think he's in the race tonight, but cool little family fun sport there to participate there in the Northwest. Of course, not this time of year, because I'm sure I wonder if they have more snow than we have here in New Hampshire, but we got quite a bit the other day.
Oh, did you? Yeah, we've been, today I got actually a little bit of spring fever today. Out here in Montana, the snow is melting, and it was about 40 degrees, which imagine some people like down in Georgia are like, well, that's 40 degrees. But,
right, I know what you're saying. When you hit like 40 and even 50, it feels like 80 around this time of year.
Yep, it is. It all of a sudden makes you say, oh man, it's almost time to break out the shorts and get out there and get some stuff done.
Remember we talked about Trent Drum. Let's talk about him a little bit. Started in, well, let's see how his night has gone. He's been as low as 23rd, high as 6th spot. Right now running in 10th, which is not so bad considering he gave up 5th spot earlier in the race to come to pit road to top off. Not sure exactly why, but nonetheless, cracking the top 10 is Trent Drum.
Yeah, great run by Trent Drum. Right now, Eric Talent, I believe, Eric Talent is actually dropping back right now. Got Matt Radaloso and Charles Widener making that pass. I think that 5 car was ahead there, but I think he got a little slipped up or crossed up and had to give those positions back. And you can see now Matt Radaloso and Charles Widener getting ready to duke it out.
Well, Eric Talent sails it on the high side, trying to gain some momentum. Let's see what he has here for the 95 of Charles Widener. There you see him gain, ducks to the inside in turn number 3. Can't quite get it done here, hitting the start-finish line, lap number 96 on the board. We're inside of 15 to go here at Phoenix.
Yeah, still working on the inside of Charles Widener. Let's see what he does here in 3 and 4. He's going to back up. Tries to get on the inside. Oh, he does get into him. Charles goes into the outside wall ever so slightly. That's almost what you call putting the bumper to him. But Charles kind of closed the gap on him, and Eric Talent stuck his nose in there, and it's like, oh, let's see who's going to win this battle.
If I was Eric, I'd start pedaling here because I don't think Charles is done with him if he can get back to him.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I can see what I call my own personal rage monkey in the inside of that 95 car, and I would have put the hammer down. Unfortunately, this is one of those tracks where you kind of don't have any other options. If you're driving it to the best of your ability, that's kind of all you got. If you tend to overdrive it really easy here if you don't manage what you're doing.
Looks like back a little ways. Billy Bumgarner looks like he put the pass on Trent Drum. Trent Drum moving outside the top 10 into 11th spot. Billy Bumgarner, the Bazooka Bill, they call him, picking up top 10 here.
Yeah, so Joe Marks, he's currently running in 7th. He slipped back from his high position of 2nd. Started this stint in 2nd place. He's starting to feel some pressure back there from that, what I like to call that Toyota Camry when I know it's a Chevy Camaro, but I'll get used to it as the season progresses. Bob Wells back there having a solid night back there in 8th. So both those guys doing really good. And just behind them, Johnny Hamby still out there in 9th, currently holding his position since the last time we looked at him.
Johnny Hamby from Covington, Georgia. Wonder if he's going to the race this weekend. The race is in Atlanta, Georgia, the NASCAR race on Sunday.
Yeah. Our leader, no change up front. Leader's under pressure from the former leader, the 41 car, who's currently 2 laps down, trying to get one of those laps down. But the beer store car is even holding Wesley Holland off. And, you know, as strong as Wesley Holland is, I know that, I hate to say it, I like racing. You know, sometimes if you got a guy out there that you know is going to beat you, if he gets back on the lead lap, I'll try to keep him a lap down.
That's true. We're watching that gap expand, and that might be Rob Haynes kind of saying, you know what, you're going to have to work the hard way. I'm not just going to give this up to you, because Rob probably sees him as somewhat of a threat to be competitive in this thing. But as we count down to 10 laps to go here at Phoenix, that window is closing ever so rapidly for Wes Holland to take advantage of some yellows here late in the race.
You know, the question is, Scott, now if a yellow was to come out right now, we got 13 cars on the lead lap. Would you take tires? That's the big question. Or would you stay out and keep that track position?
With 13, if it were to come out right now, absolutely. I'm taking 4 tires. If it comes out 5 laps from now, ask me then. I don't know. I raced in another league on Monday nights, and I won a race at Gateway. It was kind of led most of the race, and then came in late. It was a green-white checker finish. There was only 6 cars in the lead lap, but we all decided to take 4 tires, and I was stressing about that one, thinking I would have to work my way through traffic, but kind of worked out where everybody took tires. So, looking at Blake here on the backside of Charles Widener last time around. Blake running about the same lap time, 29.3, as Charles Widener, also 29.3.
Yeah, there's some great racing as we get down 7 laps to go. I think everybody's getting to that point where they've made their bed. Wes Holland, like I said, did get by that 199 of the beer store car, but I have a feeling that it's going to be a little too late for Wes at this point with 7 laps left to go.
What I like from Wes, though, he's not giving up, and he may be looking at the leaderboard, and I'm looking down on the backside of Wes Holland, and cars behind him include Hurricane Mark, Wade Cheetah, Michael Milfelt, Christopher Davis, all those guys are having worse point nights than Wes is. So even though it's not going to be a winning night for Wes, for sure, he's still picking up points on all those guys behind him.
Yeah, Charles Widener's still feeling that pressure from one of the cheetahs there. He's got that cat all over the back bumper of that Lowe's car. And just ahead of them, we got Eric Talent still running a solid third up there. So Eric Talent did get by those guys, slipped up like I mentioned earlier. Back up there in that third position, Matt Rodoloso in the purple 13 Monster Energy Drink Camaro. Solid night up there, but like I said, the battle is really for second. Scott Rob Haynes is kind of running away from it, but he has been slipping back on time. But I think he knew how to manage those tires, and it's maybe a little too late. Yeah,
we talked about that 5.5 seconds last time we checked when Wes Holland was trying to make his way around Rob Haynes. Now that interval is down to 4.3. Matt Rodoloso last time 0.4 faster than Rob Haynes, our leader.
Yeah, and you can see that time difference now. It gained a whole bunch more time, but like I said, it's going to be a little too late unless, caution comes out. I was just going to say that. Scott, if the caution comes out, it looks like it was Joe Marks, too. I see the 4 way off pace here.
Here's a replay of Joe Marks come down the backstretch into corner number 3. Let's see what happens to Joe. Just off pace down here, going into turn number 1, 3 wide maybe with Jack Watts. Yeah, sails it in there a little bit too hard and gets sideways there in corner number 1. Joe Marks, tough break, awesome top 5 run for Joe early in the race.
Yeah, no, Joe is having a good night, but that car is not damaged, and he is going to the tail end of the lead lap. So, Scott, there is a chance he could take tires, and, there's no probably loss in taking tires right now, although I do see some cars on pit lane. I'm not sure if the pit lane was open that time by. We will have a green-white checker. If I was Joe, I'd probably just go ahead and take tires and see what I can make up.
Let's see if we got some players down here. Do we have Matt Rodoloso? Yeah, he is. Do you want to talk to Matt and see what he's doing here with the green-white checkered? Hey, Matt, Scott Patton up here in the booth along with Kenny Huber. Awesome night for you here. Good to see you in the top 3. You're running second right now to Rob Haynes. Let me ask you this. Is pit road open that time or no?
Yeah, pit road is open here, so gotta do something.
All right, we'll leave you be. We'll let you concentrate with your team, but maybe we'll chat with you after. I thought you were going to stay out, but we'll let you make your decision with your team, and we'll maybe talk to you in a little bit. Good luck out there.
Thanks, bud.
And it looks like, there he goes. He's going to pit lane. Wow, that is very surprising. He's going to have 2 laps to make up that, Scott. I don't know if that's what I would have done.
Wow, and it's a lonely pit road from what I'm seeing there, Ken.
See, the other thing is he was running down Rob Haynes, right? And Rob did not come into pit lane. And in my opinion, he had a faster car than the 199 when that caution came out.
I'm with you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the same tires. There's 13 cars or so on the lead lap. Looks like 15 by the time, 14 rather, by the time things sort out. Yeah, he's putting himself in a rough spot here with just 2 laps to go here when we get back out. Just 2 tires looks like for Matt Rodoloso though, so he's got that going for him.
The other thing, I will cut Matt a break on what I said about maybe making his mistake. Is the one thing you don't know is how many cars behind you are going to come into pit lane, right? So it might have been the safe bet if everybody followed Matt on the pit lane, but that kind of didn't happen. So he's going to have, I think he's going to, when this all shakes out, I'll have to wait till the time in scoring, but I want to say he's probably going to be in the top 10, but barely. Yeah,
I'm showing him in 12th, it looks like, coming off the pit road. He is the first one with fresh tires with 2 right sides, but as you like to say, Ken, going to be a tough road to hoe here with 2 laps.
And these guys are going to be side by side too, so it isn't like he's going to have free track to just sail it off in there and make up positions, because these guys they're all going for this win, and so there's going to be a lot of side by side. Maybe this won't be our last green-white checker.
Why don't we talk to him again? We'll finish the interview here. Matt, looks like it was a lonely pit road down there. Were you expecting more guys to come down with you?
Yeah, I was hoping more guys would come down with me just to give me a bit of a buffer. I didn't think everyone was going to come down, but if you follow the leader, you're just going to follow the leader. I wasn't fast enough to pass him under green, so I figured I had to do something, right? You say that, but Ken and I were both noting that you were a little bit faster than Rob in those last 3 or 4 laps before the yellow there. Was that a planned thing, and did you not think you had a shot here? I didn't think I had a shot. I know Wes was up there trying to pass him, so I wasn't sure if that was slowing him down or not. I don't know the timeline of things, but
All right, looks like pace car's in. We'll let you concentrate with your team. Good luck out there. We'll watch you drive through the traffic here.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
That's Matt Rodoloso from Team Prestige Worldwide. We'll go back up front. Coming to the green flag, green white checker. We got to make it all the way back to the white flag. If a yellow comes out, we got up to two times, I believe, to get this green white checker completed. Rob Haynes, Eric Talon on his inside. Charles Widener, green flag is out. Rob Haynes with a good jump here.
Yeah, it was a great start. It's a great start by that 199 car. Back there, Eric Talent, Charles Widener getting into it a little bit there. Charles Widener getting that position away from Eric Talent. Now on the inside, Eric Talent in the wall.
Remember those two got together earlier, right? Eric Talent to the backside of Charles Widener. Maybe Eric trying to return that favor, but can't quite get to Charles's bumper there as he rounds the corner.
Oh, there's a wreck in the back. Oh, we are going to be under caution. Will they get to the... Oh, yeah. So there it is. Caution is out. Big mess on the straightaway. Hopefully Matt, who we talked to, wasn't involved in that. I'm going to have to take a look. It looks like Matt made it through there cleanly. And that's going to bump Matt up a few positions. What you got on the replay there, Scott?
Let's take a look here. Here's the replay as they come down. No, not that one. Let's go with... finding it. Let's fast forward here through this lap, but because I think it happened up in turn 3 and 4. We'll go blimp view maybe so we can... Oh, they're already starting. In front there, Bob Wells on the inside. Billy Bumgarner on the outside. Billy Bumgarner in the wall all by himself. Jack Watts tries to thread the needle. Can't quite get to the outside of Bob Wells. 4 wide. Brad Ream. Bill Paradise to the inside. Billy Bumgarner's backwards. Wes Holland trying to thread his way through. Trent Drum does a great job there. And I didn't see Matt Rodoloso. And right now on the leaderboard, he's showing in P10. So maybe Matt did get through that.
Yeah, actually 9th is what I've got him at, Scott. So yeah, he's on the inside. So up a few positions, but it's only 2 green-white checkers. Oh, you're right. It's reset to 10th. So I apologize, Scott. You're always right. What am I saying?
Would you say, Ken? I couldn't hear you there.
Well, you weren't even listening, so it doesn't matter. I said I'm always right. So no
okay.
matter. Yeah. Anyway, Matt Rodoloso, as you said, is in 10th, so he got a couple spots up. I don't know. It's still, there's only 1 more green-white checker left, so I mean, he can maybe make it up a couple more. We'll get 1 more green-white checker. Let's hope that isn't the case. But what I'm more fascinated with, or more excited about, is that Charles Widener and Eric Talent. So we are going to reset this field with Charles Widener on the outside and Eric Talent starting in 3rd. It's going to be on his inside.
Here's what I want to do, Ken, real quick. I'm going to let you talk to one of these. Who do you want to talk to, Charles or Eric?
Let's talk to Eric.
All right, let's go. Eric Talent, once I find him. There, here he is for you.
Hey, Eric, up here in the booth with myself and Scott Patton. How's your race going tonight? Hey, you got us up here?
So far, so good.
Hey, yeah, so we're watching you. We've been watching you climb towards the front here. We don't get a lot of chance to talk to you, but having a great race so far. It seems like you and Charles are having a little bit of an argument on the track. Anything going on out there?
I mean, there hasn't been any words, but I mean, I don't know.
Do you have anything for these leaders up here? Because like I said, you've been coming up through the field pretty well, and you're going to start in that 3rd on the inside. Do you think you have anything for these guys?
We're going to see. I can get the bumper to them.
We'll see. Well, we're excited to watch you guys see what you got, so we'll wish you luck, and we'll send you back to your team, all right?
Thanks, man.
All right, later.
All right.
So there was Eric Talent. So he seems pretty calm, but I think he's a little reserved. I think he's focused. I think he's like, I don't really want to talk to you guys right now. I want to focus on the race.
Birds, I want to feature one of these guys because we missed the cameras last week, but let's get one of these cameras working here. There's Noah Rainwater driving from his cockpit in his house. He's back in 20th spot right now. But nonetheless, it's early on in the race, but that 03 Camaro still in good shape. Looking to crack the top 20 in this race and bringing him down for the 2nd of 2 green-white checkered finishes here.
Yeah, and the pace car should be ducking off in the pit lane, and there it goes. Lights are out. Our top 5, Rob Haynes, Charles Widener, Eric Talent. Those 2 guys I'm going to be watching on this restart. Blake Cheetah and Johnny Hamby up to 5th spot on the inside, and then Joe Marks in your top 6. So Joe Marks has come back as well. So we'll see how this goes as I get ready to take this last green-white checker. I'm kind of really excited. I'm on pins and needles about this one, Scott.
Here we go. See if Rob can do what he does best all night with a great restart. Coming down. There's the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Last time, Rob Haynes with another great jump here. 2 laps to go. Next flag is going to end this thing, whether it is a caution or the checkered flag. Side by side is Eric Talent here in second, like you said. See what these guys can do. Eric sends it in there hard. Charles Widener went for the crossover. Oh boy.
That's a great race. Those 2 guys have been going at it all race. So Eric Talent's got one more lap to get it done. Just behind them, we got some side-by-side battles going on. Blake Cheetah back there kind of getting hammered right now, headed backwards.
Paradise 3 wide on the outside, trying to make some moves here. Great maneuver there. Oh, as the Blake gets into Billy Bumgarner here. I don't think he saw him on the inside. They were 3 wide as we are. White flag is out.
Back, I believe. Yeah,
yes,
we're racing back.
This race is official down the backstretch.
Matt Rodoloso up to 3rd right now, working on the back of Charles Widener. Rob Haynes clearing control of this race. Rob Haynes crossing the checkered flag. Matt Rodoloso is going to get this thing in second. Oh my goodness. And Charles Widener rounds out your top 3, so that was quite exciting. Eric Talent, lots of damage on the finish of that race. He ended up finishing 4th, but had a tire down coming across the line there. I'm not sure what happened to him, but slid it into the inside retaining wall.
Joe Marks in 5th, rounding up top 5. Good run for Joey tonight.
Yeah, sorry for stepping on you there, Scott. That's what happens when I get excited. That was,
both of us.
Yeah, I was like, I love it. All right, so the big question is, we know we're going to talk to Rob Haynes tonight. I'm thinking I kind of almost want to talk to Joe Marks tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, if we can get Joe. Do you want to see if you can
yeah, I'll see. I'll go
down
to his team, and we'll bring him up. He's going to be our cameo appearance for the night, I think.
All right, you go work on him, and we'll meanwhile watch Rob Haynes burning it down on the front stretch. Beer store number 99. See if he revs it up and gives us a smoke show. Not yet, but we'll pull him up for an interview here, and we'll be back with momentarily with the final results in the standings and wrap up tonight. Great race here at Phoenix Raceway.
And we do have both drivers in the green room whenever we're ready here. I'm just checking to see what the officials are saying right now as we get everybody staged up. And there we go. Got the burnout.
There's Rob tearing up on the front stretch.
It's about time we seen that beer store car in Victory Lane.
One of our Canadians, about as far away from Canada as you can get here at Phoenix Raceway. 1 mile flat track here. Rob dominated most of the night. 118 laps it took to get it done. Scheduled distance was 110, but did a great job of holding off everybody, including Matt Rodoloso, who was hard. Got to give him the hard charger award of the night, coming up to second spot after that pit stop, going back to 10th and working his way cleanly through the field and avoiding all those incidents there. All right, let's look at the results here real quick, Ken, because I want to do that. Let's see here. No, and the results aren't going to work for us.
Yeah,
I'm going to work on that for next week.
Yeah, technology is a wonderful thing, Scott. So we went over, we'll just go through your top guys here. Rob Haynes, Matt Rodoloso in 2nd. Charles Widener finishes in 3rd. Eric Talent 4th. Joe Marks in 5th. We're going to talk to a couple of those guys. Bob Wells in 6th. Solid night for Bob there, Scott.
Yeah. 7th, I'm showing James Hearns, Johnny Hamby, Bill Paradise, Trent Drum rounding out the top 10 there.
Wesley Holland recovered. He's back there in 11th on the lead lap. I don't even know how he did that. I guess the 2 green-white checkers. So Wes Holland making a bad night into a good night, actually. Top 11. Well, Blake Cheetah involved in that late race accident in 12th. David Schreck in 13th. Great run for David. Donald Stewart in 14th. Billy Bumgarner in 15th. Brad Ream is in 16th.
17th, Jeff Merck, 5 laps down. Jack Watts, Wade Cheetah. Obviously, we saw in that incident very early in the race. Noah Rainwater having a rough night in 20th. 21st, Michael Milfelt. Christopher Davis was out there logging laps, even though he had significant damage from that first yellow. Heath Smith had a rough night. Chris Voiles, Greg Mall, Andrew Schulte, Lehman in... Look at that, Ken Huber on the board, 28th.
Oh, wow, I must have accidentally joined the race there, Scott. Well, I didn't know I was that confident.
There it is. But who we want to talk to first?
Let's bring up our race winner. He's been sitting out on the track. I think he's waiting for us.
All right. There he is. Rob Haynes, congrats. Win number 1 on the season at Phoenix. Dominating fashion. The 1 mile flat track. How's it feel here to be in victory lane in the desert?
Feels great, Scott. I mean, a lot of weird stuff had to happen for me to be here, but I mean, I'll take it. Those kind of things just sometimes fall in your lap, and I'll take it tonight.
Certainly, and we were following a couple storylines there, especially as those last 2 green-white checkers fell. One in particular was Matt Rodoloso. I'm not sure if you followed him going backwards. Obviously, he was in 2nd or 3rd there before the first green-white checker. He was actually catching you. He lowered that gap from about 5.5 seconds down to 4.5. But number 1, I want to ask you, did you notice him being faster, and was that intentional? Were you saving tires? I know you let Wes Spide have one of his laps back. And then secondly, I want to know how worried were you with Matt Rodoloso potentially coming through the field and finishing 2nd and maybe catching you there on the last green-white checker?
Yeah, I'm always watching my relatives, Scott. So I've seen him coming there, and I mean, I was pedaling it a little bit. I was backing off a little bit early to get a good entry, and just trying to make it to the end. I didn't expect those late cautions. That was a real bummer, but I managed to work through it, and glad to be sitting here. I love it, and I'm having a great time. It's just fun.
Car looks great on down there on the start-finish line. The beer store. Look at that. You got your name on there, too. Beer Store Haynes. I like it. What do you got for Ken, a race winner here, Ken?
I don't have a lot. I just want to say congratulations. It's always nice seeing a Canadian up front. And as Scott was saying, you're about as far away as you can get down here in Phoenix. So congrats on that run. You looked really strong tonight. And was watching you hold your own with Wes Holland there. I noticed about midway through the race you were kind of losing to him. I don't know if that was planned, if you were saving tires, but it was hard to tell with the way the cautions were falling. Did you have anything maybe you were thinking about for tires for Wes if that situation continued?
No, I can't. I stuck with him as long as I could, and then I couldn't get to his inside, couldn't get back to his bumper anywhere near. I was a couple car lengths back, and that was as close as I could get. And just the line he was running, it was a little bit different, and he was joining a good speed getting off turn 4 there through the dog leg, and I just couldn't get back to him. And then I eventually started, my tires started to wear because I've been trying so hard to get back to him, and I just ended up falling back. But yeah, I mean, he was the class of the field tonight. He had that speeding infraction. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I came out of the pits and it said to pass him. I was like, yeehaw!
Yeah, nothing like a freebie, I guess.
Exactly.
I will say you were probably kind of lucky. I don't know if you could see what was going on in your rear mirror tonight, but it was pretty ugly back there just behind you. There was a lot of heavy, hard hitting going on just behind you. So I imagine you were in the right spot to kind of avoid all that.
Ken, when I came off turn 4 there, and I knew Wade was to my inside, and then I'm checking my left, checking my left, and all of a sudden he's gone, and I don't know exactly what happened. I just saw the turmoil across the start-finish line there and through the dog leg.
Well, it's recorded in time for posterity, so you have to go back and watch the race on the channel tonight. And,
I will do that for sure.
And be thoroughly entertained, I think. So yeah, congrats on your win, man. Love to see you up here.
Thank you, and thanks to you guys for broadcasting it on the Multi-League Racing Network. I appreciate what you guys do. I've had a terrible start to this Cup season, but I'm looking to turn that around here, and it worked out. So I'm really happy going into the rest of the season here.
Well, we really thank you, and yeah, good luck to you the rest of the season. Speaking of the rest of the season, I do have one more question for you. We're going to the new Atlanta, our second race out there. We raced it last season. We're going to race it this season next week. What do you got for the new beast?
I don't know. I guess it races a lot like a smaller Daytona, maybe, kind of.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I think I missed the one race that Multi-League did there, but I don't know. I'll do some practice and maybe try and learn as much as I can during the warm-up time that we get, and do the best I can. Starting up front is probably going to be key.
Yeah.
Or as close to the front as possible.
Well, we wish you luck next week, and going to be looking forward to see what you can do this season.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Congrats, Rob. Good to see you.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, there it is, and we're going to bring up our special guests, finishing top 5 from Krankenstein Motorsports, Joe Marks Joey, we talked about you a lot tonight, rounding up the top 5, but it wasn't easy there. Talking about that last incident, getting loose in turn 1 and 2 back there.
Yeah, I had the brakes crank way back and tried to get up underneath a couple of cars there, trying to make as many positions as I could. It just came around on me. I cranked them back up a few more and was getting ready for the next one to go again.
Sounds good. I like the never die attitude of Frankenstein down there, which I come from down there. So I got a special place for the top 5 here, and it's good to see that Marine Corps car, number 4. You had some couple fans in the chat there pulling for you as well, though. But any close calls? And how was the tire wear tonight? Talking about the tires and maybe not so much fuel strategy, but was the tires a problem at all? Did you find it getting loose over the long run?
I didn't have a problem with it. I wasn't really pushing it all that hard. I was backing it off in the corner, going into the corners, so I wasn't really burning them up. It seemed like the longer the run went, I was getting a little faster and everybody else was getting a little slower, so it worked out good for me.
I think that's a great line from Days of Thunder, I think it was, right? And they're like, Cole, stop going so fast. He's like, no, everyone else is going slower.
That's it.
Yeah.
But heck of a job out there, Joey. What do you got for him, Ken?
Well, I was going to say, Joe, Scott was mentioning to me that Phoenix is one of your better tracks. Do you have a special knack here? Because we watched you run up front all night. You had that drift back. What's your secret to I keep wanting to say Pocono, but what's your secret to Phoenix?
Getting it out of the gas early.
Yeah,
I
guess.
That way I can get back to it quicker.
So another thing Scott was telling me, and actually I kind of knew this, you are a lap leader somewhere. Where was that, Scott?
That's somewhere. On iRacing.com, all-time lap leader Joe Marks here. Tons of experience. The most experience of anybody on the entire iRacing service. We're talking about that record last fall there, Joe. Must be pretty proud of that one, but good to see you here. Backing that up with the top 5 here at Phoenix.
Yeah, I got him by a couple 100,000.
do you know what the number is? I don't remember what the number is. It was literally a couple 100,000.
Yeah, I think it was 1.4 or something like that. 1.2 I had. The next guy was just right at 1 million.
Wow, that's insane. And
over
folks,
a million lap. Whoa.
Just so you understand, that's over the entire iRacing service. That's every driver in iRacing. That's just not the league. That's just not a series. That's the entire service. So yeah, that's quite impressive there, Joe. And you showed why you were up in the top 5 tonight. So congrats on that. That's why we brought you up to the booth. Really enjoyed seeing you up front tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I like Phoenix, and Scott knows that. He beat me out one time under caution.
I wasn't even going to bring it up, Joe. But I know I remember that race. But there was another race. I remember following you a couple times here in Indy cars or some version of the Indy cars, whether it be Skippies or whatnot. And you just have a knack for places like this. So good to see you back it up here in the Cup car as well here at Multi-League.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate Frankenstein encouragement and my sponsor, the United States Marine Corps.
Yeah. Good to see you, Joe. We'll see you next week.
Awesome, Joe.
Later, guys.
All right. What do you think, Ken? Of Phoenix, that's a wrap. Race number 4 in the belts here in the Stone River Outfitters Cup Series from Phoenix. We saw a kind of a fun one there. Got spread out in the middle, but an exciting finish there with green white checkers for the first time this season.
Yeah, definitely. We're already starting to see some storylines too. Eric Talent, Charles Widener. I imagine that we'll see those boys racing each other, and then we're going to what I consider now a super speedway again next week at Atlanta. So lots of things could happen, and then I guess we're probably after a road course or so, then we're going to start short tracking, but have to relook at that schedule. But Atlanta's kind of got my main focus now, and we'll see what happens.
I agree. Looking at Atlanta next week, super speedway style racing on 1.5 mile high banks down in Georgia. Looking forward to that one. Of course, next Thursday, the same time. If you haven't hit subscribe already, if you're still with us, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, the bell there for notifications. We'll let you know when we're going live, probably just prior to 8:30 Eastern time every Thursday here on the Multi-League Racing Network. Appreciate everybody watching. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week from Atlanta.
Good night, everyone.